another week of Vayikra Variety. My name is Rabbi Finn and this is Vayikra Variety from Board and El United Synagogue. This week we are reading Parshat Behar Bechukotai. It is a double portion, but also as we are on the way to Shavuot, I'm going to be sharing with you another Shavuot cheesecake recipe. And this one is super special because this is actually a journey for me. A number of years ago, I went on a short trip to Rome and there I had a stunning ricotta cheesecake. And every year since I've tried to recreate that flavour. And if you look online, there are loads of recipes for ricotta cheesecake. They're all variations of the same theme, but every year make a tweak to the recipe or a tweak to the method, and each year I'm searching for that flavour of Rome, that flavour of Italy, and in truth I've yet to find it. And do you know what? I'm coming to the conclusion I might never find it, because perhaps what made it so special was actually the experience of eating it with the heat that was on that day in Rome, and just the ambiance and all of that. But nevertheless, let's give this a try. I'm going to show you an incredible recipe for a ricotta and rum cheesecake, and along the way I'm going to share with you a few ideas about this week's portion. Okay, so to start, you are going to need 500 grams of ricotta cheese. You want to put it to a bowl and you want to give this you want to break it down, you want to really mix it. In fact, as you can see over here, you can't actually see it, I've actually got my electric mixer which I'm going to be using during a little break to be able to really bring it together. So into your bowl, you've got 500 grams of ricotta. You want to add about 200 to 250 grams of caster sugar, depending on how sweet you like things. So I'm going to be putting in about 2 to 5 grams actually of caster sugar, 225 grams of caster sugar, and 3 tablespoons of self-raising flour. 1, 2, 3. And you want to give this now a really, really good mix. Break down the cheese, get it into one unified mix. And as I'm doing that, let me just tell you a little bit about this week's Torah portion. As I mentioned, there's 2 portions actually, Behar and Bechukotai. The first one, Behar, has something really interesting. It has the laws of Shemitah. Shemitah is the remission year, which is basically every 7 years, you have to leave the land fallow. So if you're a farmer, you can work the land for 6 years, and on the 7th year, you can't work the land. You can't touch that land. You've got to leave it fallow. You've got to leave it be. And the question that we need to ask is why? Why is it that every 7 years, the farmer is not allowed to touch the land, is not allowed to work the land? That's the first question. In the second portion of this week's Torah double header is Bechukotai, and it contains the tochacha. The tochacha is best translated as the admonition or the curses. It's basically God telling us to behave and listing out a series of consequences that will happen to us if we don't behave. But what is really curious is that if you go to shul this week and you listen to the person who is laying, they're going to go really quiet for this tochacha, for this admonition section. And surely you'd expect this is a section that they should be shouting at the top of their voice. Why is it that they go quiet for this section? So we've got 2 portions and each one has a really difficult question to consider. And I'm going to let you hold on to that question for a moment whilst I continue to beat together my ricotta. So give it a mix. As I say, I'm going to put it in the machine for about 20-30 seconds just to really combine it together, and then I'll show you the next couple of ingredients. So I gave it about 20-30 seconds at the top speed on my mixer, and now it is all combined together. It looks almost a bit like a ricotta mousse. Well, practically that's what it is. So to remind you, 500 grams of ricotta, 225 grams of white caster sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour. Now you want to add in 4 eggs. I'm just going to add them all in one go and give them a good mix in with the ricotta. If you look online, you'll see variations of this tell you to separate out the eggs and to whip up the whites. But you know what? It doesn't bring me the texture that I want. So that's why a couple of years ago I started to do it all in one. So where were we with my questions? So why is it we have the remission year, and why is it that we have that when we are reading the tochacha, the admonitions, the person who's reading it goes quiet? And I think the answer can actually be the same for both. The purpose of the remission year, the purpose of the Shemitah, is to attune the farmer to the role of God. You see, the farmer toils away every day, day and night, and then sees this produce grow and says, wow, look at my work, look at my effort, look at how amazing I am. And it can be tempting or easy or understandable for the farmer to forget about the role of God in the things growing. Because if God didn't bring the rain, if God didn't bring the sunshine at the correct time, nothing would grow. And the farmer might think it's all me and forget about God. So every 7th year, the farmer needs to stop. And the purpose of stopping is to focus on God. In fact, in the times of the missionary, the times of the when the Jews were living in Israel, at this point, they would put on loads of shiurim and loads of classes just for farmers. It was their sabbatical year, literally, where they took a sabbatical to learn about God and to really reconnect with the Almighty. So the purpose of a remission year, one second. So the purpose of the remission year is to remind the farmer about God and to focus and to attune the farmer to God. Now, I want you to have a little think whilst I keep mixing how that could relate to the tochacha being red. So keep mixing your egg and ricotta together. It should be coming together into a beautiful cheesy mix. Now, for the fun part, you need some dark rum. Doesn't need to be fancy rum. Dark rum, and you want to do again 5 tablespoons. You heard me correctly. 5 tablespoons of rum. It is a ricotta and rum cheesecake after all, so you need to be able to taste the rum and give it another really, really, really good mix. Now, as I'm mixing this, let me tell you the reason for the tochacha. If the tochacha was read as normal, let's be honest, you might miss it. You might not realise that something special, something different is going on. Because if it's being read at a normal pace, you might just be listening along but not really paying too much attention. The change in sound from normal to quiet suddenly jolts the listener. And it's supposed to make you think, oh, what's going on? Perhaps I should look inside at the actual text. Perhaps I should look inside at the actual words that are being read. And it draws the attention in. So, to answer both questions, the reason the Shemitah year happens and the reason we go quiet is to attune us to what is going on. For Shemitah, it is to attune the farmer to the work of God and the role of God in the creation of the produce. And for the tochacha, for the admonition, is to attune us as listeners so that we actually understand and see what's going on and pay attention. Now, my ricotta cheesecake base is perfectly ready to put into a tin. You've got 2 choices. You can either do it in a 9-inch tin, but you know what? I want to actually use an 8-inch tin because I want a thicker slice. It will work completely fine in a 9-inch tin. You need to preheat your oven to 160, by the way. And this is going to cook for about 40 minutes at 160. So pour in all of your mix. Now in Italy, they actually burn sometimes the top of this, and it's on purpose because the burning adds just a tiny bit more flavour. It's up to you if you want to let it burn. If you don't want to let it catch, keep an eye on it, and if necessary, put some paper or some silver foil over the top to stop it from burning later on. Make sure you get the last bits in off the spoon. So as I said, 40 minutes in a fan oven at 160, and this should be perfectly cooked. You've got a choice. I'm doing it in an 8-inch tin, but a lot of people cook this and this amount in a 9-inch tin. I'll show you the final product once it's cooled down. So this is the final product, my ricotta and rum cheesecake. It looks absolutely stunning. I can't wait to try this on Shavuot. I'm going to put it in the freezer. It freezes beautifully. Just wrap it up in some cling film and then some silver foil and you'll be absolutely fine. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.